Hello, good morning, folks. We're going to give everybody a couple minutes to trickle on in here before we get started. Thanks for stopping by. Still seeing everybody trickling in here, so we'll give ourselves maybe another minute here and then we can kick things off. Hopefully people are enjoying a little bit more blue sky and less clouds than what we're seeing out here in Portland today. So
jealous of those people.
Supposed to get sunny though tomorrow, this weekend.
Okay.
Summer
Fingers
vibe.
crossed.
Word spring weather. I'm jealous, Jenny.
Oh, me too. Take me with you.
Seriously. Yeah, I'm ready for it. Although, yeah, I don't complain too much about the rain. I'm a little strange that way, in that it's what makes everything green and gorgeous here. So I no complaints. Anyhow.
80 degrees? What? Oh my gosh. I don't even know what 80 degrees feels like anymore. What is that?
Give us until July. That's when we'll start seeing that.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
Ugh. It's making me want to move.
Yep. Well, cool. I think we'll go ahead and get things started here. This morning for some, this afternoon for others, but thank you. Welcome for coming. So yeah, welcome. Today we're here for Email in 2024, Thriving in a Changing Email World. So understanding a lot of what has been going on this year in the changes for Google and Yahoo, to the point that, as we were contemplating the setup and starting of this webinar, we initially sort of moved to the Yahoo Galocalypse as a potential title, because there was so much in terms of fear and uncertainty and confusion as to what was happening out there. Can highlight a few of my favorite comments. Did Google just kill email marketing? It's Y2K all over again. All your emails are going to spam. We're seeing that a lot over the social media in terms of people talking about how is this going to impact deliverability? What is going to be the greater sort of impact for marketers out there? But we chose not to go with the Yahoo Galocalypse, as much of a fun mouthful as that is to say. We settled into Email in 2024, Thriving in a Changing Email World, because at the end of the day, these changes shouldn't be scary to you as email marketers and people in the email world. These are fairly straightforward and fairly positive for everybody. So we're going to go into that. We're going to talk a little bit about the what and the why of this all today, and talk about how you can be successful in the ever-evolving email landscape this year. So with that, we'll kick it over into some introductions. Taylor.
Hello, my name is Taylor. I have been here at Acton for almost 2 years now, which is cuckoo bananas. But I've been in the email marketing space for over 3 years. But when I'm not, in the email marketing space, I'm usually romping around the Pacific Northwest with my sweet healer Chai. She's the best. But yeah, email has really become a part of my life. So happy to talk about it more today with you all.
Cool. Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah.
And then nice to meet you all. I'm Brian Willis. I'm the one on the left. I am the manager of deliverability professional services here at Acton. I've been here just about 6 years now, and I really enjoy talking with our customers about everything email marketing and how you can see success. If you ever get on the phone with me, I am more than happy to talk about just how much I enjoy the Pacific Northwest and everything that we have that is awesome out here. Big fan. But yeah, no, happy to be here. Happy to have you here. Looking forward to chatting a little bit further about all of this. So today, the agenda today, what we'll be running through a little bit. Yahoogle, understanding what it is, what the changes are, why these are happening, what you can do to keep up with these changes, things that you can continue to look at. What have we seen so far? We're 3 weeks into February since the changes kicked off. So what's happening? A couple of myths that we've seen, and then we'll end it off with Q&A. So excuse me, please feel free to include those questions in chat, and we will work to get through to as many of them as we can towards the end. So yeah, let's kick it off. Taylor, what is it?
Yeah, so Yahoogle, what the heck is it? In today's webinar, we're going to cover the recent shifts in email marketing guidelines, focusing on updates from Google and Yahoo. So these changes, which came into effect in early February, they'll be rolling out over the next 4 months. So these updates were designed to enhance security, improve user experiences, and prioritize relevant and secure email delivery. So as a result, users are now required to properly configure records like DMARC, SPF, and DKIM just to verify the authenticity of emails and prevent spoofing, along with optimizing emails for mobile devices and reducing spam complaints overall. I came across a really great analogy recently that really illustrates these changes. So I thought I would share. So imagine you're a regular at a club with a reliable team of bouncers. And through a long period of observation and side chats, you've learned their decision-making criteria. No ID and underage appearance, no entry. Repeated trouble, you're banned. Persistent harassment, get out of here. Most regulars are familiar with these rules, either from witnessing them firsthand or hearing about them from others. But recently, the bouncers posted a sign announcing the enforcement of these existing rules with some adjustments. Regulars aren't surprised, right? These rules largely match what they've known for years. But some semi regulars are a little uncertain about their status and how these rules apply to them. But regulars understand that the bouncer's approach isn't overly strict. They see the sign as formalizing existing practices, making it easier to guide newcomers. So they recognize that while the rules have always been in place, the explicit sign offers a clear reference point. So essentially, while these rules might appear unexpected and potentially detrimental to senders, they're primarily aimed at enhancing email security. So if you've been conscientious about your email practices and have maintained the necessary records, chances are you're going to navigate through these changes smoothly. So you don't want to be caught without these, right? So as we dive into the latest updates on email marketing guidelines from Google and Yahoo, I want to stress the importance of SPF, DKIM, and DMARC for keeping your email communications secure and authentic. So SPF acts like a gatekeeper, making sure that Acton is authorized to send emails on your behalf, while DKIM adds a digital signature to confirm the sender's identity. So these practices have always been recommended for a successful outreach at Acton. But DMARC, which checks alignment between SPF or DKIM domains and the sender's domain, is now more crucial than ever, right? It's like having an extra layer of security, ensuring that only legit emails are getting through. So while we haven't always required DMARC, it's becoming increasingly essential for safeguarding your email reputation and just protecting against phishing attacks and unauthorized activity. So what is DMARC anyway? So DMARC, or domain-based message authentication reporting and conformance, a mouthful, is for enhancing email authentication and security. So DMARC provides a comprehensive policy framework for handling unauthenticated emails, ensuring that messages are appropriately validated and authenticated. Additionally, DMARC specifies where feedback and reporting should be sent, aiding in detection and mitigation of abuse and unauthorized email activity. Okay, so as we can see here on this slide, there's a basic DMARC record that you can implement. A great way to think of it is it's like a state registered ID, but not necessarily a driver's license. So it doesn't give you additional permissions on it, allowing you to ride motorcycles or drive a semi. But at the very least, it allows you to show the world you are who you say you are, and it allows you into the club. Okay. Some important notes are you'll want to make sure you apply DMARC to your organization's top level domain. So this ensures that any email sent from your organization, regardless of the originating subdomain or mail server, adheres to the same authentication standards. Additionally, you'll want to make sure your DMARC record is aligned with SPF and DKIM with the from domain for enhanced security. So by integrating SPF and DKIM with your organization's from domain, you establish a comprehensive security framework that safeguards against spoofing, phishing, and other malicious activities, right? So this multi-layered approach not only enhances the integrity of your email communications, but it also instills trust among, your recipients and overall strengthens your organization's reputation. So minimizing unwanted emails across the inbox. So these changes underscore the critical importance of maintaining lower spam complaint rates, right? So Google and Yahoo, among others, really have heightened their scrutiny of email senders, placing greater emphasis on factors such as transparency, accessibility, and prompt honoring of unsubscribe requests. So they're closely monitoring sender behavior, especially in terms of spam complaint rates. And as part of their efforts to improve user experience and inbox deliverability. Consequently, email marketers must prioritize strategies to reduce spam complaints, as failure to do so can lead to diminished sender reputation and potential deliverability issues down the line. So unsubscribe mechanisms really should be transparent, easily accessible, one click, and promptly honored. Brian, how do we feel about the 0.3%? Is this real? What's going on?
No, I mean, it's a real concern. It's a real threshold, but it's probably something that isn't as strict as everybody has made it out to see. We'll talk about that a little bit more further down in our Mythbusters section, but it's important to adhere to.
Okay, good to know, good to know. So let's talk about one click, right? So both Google and Yahoo mention the one click unsubscribe. But here's Yahoo's specific stance on it. So according to Yahoo, users should have the ability to unsubscribe from unwanted emails effortlessly with a single click. So this requirement aims to streamline the process and ensure immediate action. Although the standard has been advocated for some time, its adoption has been limited. Consequently, Yahoo mandates senders to comply with this protocol, obligating them to facilitate one-click unsubscribe options and promptly honor user requests within a 2-day window. So there seems to be a slight misconception that senders with existing subscription management systems may need to adjust to meet these standards. But the one-click unsubscribe rule can also be referred to as the one-step unsubscribe rule. So this essentially simplifies the subscription management process by ensuring that unsubscribing from a mailing list or service requires just one single action. So this means that users can easily opt out of receiving further communications by clicking a single button or a single link without the need for navigating through multiple pages or filling out complex forms. So by complying with this rule, subscription management systems streamline the unsubscribe process, making it quick, intuitive, and user-friendly. So Yahoo clarifies that if senders already offer this one-click unsubscribe functionality, they meet the requirements without needing to make alterations, and they're good to go.
Oh, thanks for the clarification, because I know that we've seen a lot of questions on that particular topic pop up along the way. So it's great.
Totally. It can be unclear, so happy to clear it up.
Yeah, cool. So thank you. We're going to hop into, so why these changes? Why now? Why are Google and Yahoo doing what they're doing right now? So as they've stated, the goal is to reduce the impact of malicious spammers and scammers. They want to make sure that nobody is abusing you, your brand, your reputation, your good name as you're sending out emails out there, as others may try to, send mail from unauthenticated as you. It protects you. It protects the Google and Yahoo's end users, which is for them one of the highest priorities, and it protects your brand. You want to make sure that if you are authenticating, the reputation is tied to you, and that people are, you're not getting hurt by other people who are trying to send mail on behalf of your brand that aren't necessarily authorized to do so. And similarly, it reduces clutter and unwanted messages for reducing all of the malicious actors out there trying to send mail on your behalf. This really isn't a big shift. So while some of these changes may sound a little scary initially, I know everybody goes, DNS records, my favorite topic. It's what we all love talking about. But DMARC has existed for some time now, and it's been a longstanding best practice in the email marketing world. It just hasn't been something that's been required up until this point. It really is a valuable thing to let people know that you are who you say you are and that you're passing it all of those authentication pieces as you need to. Similarly, for the opt-out unsubscribe rate sort of considerations, you'll want to pay attention to those numbers just like you always have in the past. You're watching for spikes. You're watching for any sort of uptick in unsubscribes or complaints to be able to tell you, did something go wrong with that message? Nothing's really going to be changing with that other than, you're still going to be looking for similar thresholds. I can tell you here at Acton, we've always sort of looked into the, a 0.1 sort of minimum up to a 0.3 range as something that can be flagged that we've known in the past for Google and Yahoo. So this is really them, as Taylor sort of said, putting the writing on the wall and telling us this is exactly what we care about and what we want to see. Beyond that, there's never really been a fully required checklist to guarantee inbox placement. But these are just an update to the baseline considerations. These are the things that you need to have these in place in order to get your foot in the door and be able to continue those conversations with folks. So a lot of our emphasis and our discussion in the conversation today are very much around looking at authentication, looking at spam complaint data, but there are a lot of other requirements and other things that Google and Yahoo have been talking about and say that these are also added requirements. We're not going to go heavy into those because these are things that Acton has supported and managed for some years, as they have long been best practices and things that we've been doing for our senders' behalf. So these are elements that are not really concerns, but they are things that Google and Yahoo have said that they necessitate. So you're sending here at Acton, no need to worry about any of those points. Keeping up with the updated landscape. So what can you do? What else can we be looking at now that we, maybe we have a DMARC record implemented with the base level sort of bare minimum requirements? Well, one of the important things, using Google Postmaster tools. If you're emailing any contacts with Gmail, and I can tell you that large B2C senders, Gmail is going to be the top of your list. Even B2B focus, you'll frequently have anywhere from 3 to 10% of your list may be Gmail. So setting up and getting to look at Google Postmaster tools can be a very, very important step, because Google Postmaster tools is the source of truth for any sort of domain reputation and spam complaint information. Fun fact about Google, about Gmail, they don't give you spam complaint information in a standard process that Yahoo or Hotmail or any of the other major domains may do. They tell you in Postmaster tools, they'll give you a little graph and say, on this day, you saw this percentage of spam complaints. And they won't tell you who did it, because they consider it protecting their end users. But it's important to note when you're trying to track your mailing to Gmail, what's going on, what days anything is happening, as well as it'll tell you what they think of your sending domain. So based on regularly mailing Gmail contacts, what do they think about your overall domain? Are you high, medium, lower path? And then can you see trends or changes along the way in that for you to be able to take action? I can tell you, anybody working with our deliverability team, this is one of the first things that we work to set up with our customers, and we very much care to get to monitor and track with the folks that we work with, because it is so important for understanding the impact of your reputation with Google. Expanding on DMARC. So, Taylor highlighted the importance of making sure that we have a DMARC record, that we are at a bare minimum having a P=none policy, the none policy. But you can move that to a quarantine or reject eventually, which tells somebody like Google or Yahoo to say, hey, if I'm not passing DMARC, you should either throw that in the spam folder or quarantine, or reject it altogether if somebody looks like they're not me. But there's sort of 3 steps along here. And realistically, you don't want to move to a quarantine or reject policy until you have some kind of reporting. One of the great things about DMARC is they allow you to receive reports on where you're passing and where you're failing. It will tell you anytime it rejects mail for not passing DMARC. But that can be a lot. That can be a lot of emails, and it can really clutter whoever you send that to. So you really don't want to go towards that unless you're using one of the many, many options out there for DMARC tooling. There are a lot of third-party sources that aggregate those reports that can tell you, before you swap to a quarantine or reject policy, where am I failing? Where is there mail that looks like it's from me, that maybe we can make sure that we're checking, is there a third party, is there another source of mail that we didn't realize wasn't passing DMARC, didn't have DKIM or SPF to be able to pass. So using that sort of third party DMARC tooling to know what and where your mail may be passing and failing can be really, really important to take that next step. But with that next step, one of the really cool things you can do is implement BIMI. You may have heard about BIMI. It is effectively in the inboxes for Gmail and Yahoo and a lot of other providers, which we'll highlight. It allows you to include your logo. So next to the name and subject line, you will be able to see your brand awareness, your logo. But it requires DMARC with a quarantine or reject policy in place. So you definitely want to make sure that you are in the state to get to that if you want to implement something like this. Healthy sending reputation, no problem to be able to get in with Gmail. The other big point with Gmail is they do require a VMC, a verified mark certificate. Gmail will not display this unless you have it. Yahoo still will, but there are currently 2 vendors that set up VMCs, Entrust and Digicert. There is an added cost to that, but that process is entirely there so that Gmail knows that you own your brand, that the image that you're putting up there is verified that it is one of yours. So that's the purpose of that. But BIMI is a cool thing that you can do once you have DMARC in place. Cool. With that, all of the places that support this, don't need to spend too much time on this, but there are a lot of places that currently adopt it. The only sort of one big outlier is Hotmail isn't there yet, but it's likely something that as others continue to adopt, it'll be on the horizon. So awesome. Back to Taylor. What are we seeing right now?
Yeah.
What's been happening in February?
Ooh, okay. So, I mean, in the first week of rolling out these changes, everything has looked pretty smooth. There were no new rejections to report. But as we got into the second week, we've started to see a pattern emerge. So most of the rejections that were coming in were from folks who didn't have DKIM and SPF authentication set up. So it really highlighted how crucial these protocols are for making sure emails are getting through and that they're trusted. We also noticed more rejections due to DMARC being misconfigured, right? So it looks like even though people are trying to get on board with these new email security standards, some folks are just having some trouble getting their DMARC policy sorted out. So keep in mind, these are very early observations. There's still a lot of tweaking to do, but as time goes on, we do expect to see more of the same kind of rejection as the system keeps enforcing these authentication standards. This phase is super important for tightening up email security and just teaching users why sticking to these authentication rules really matter.
Cool. Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, we're seeing some things. It's going to continue, as you highlighted. It's going to be rolled out over the next 4 months. We'll continue to see that evolve, and we're continuing to watch and track that for all of our users. So, Mythbusters, what are a few of the things that we've been hearing and seeing out there online that we want to make sure that we're debunking today? One thing we alluded to, spam complaint rates, fact or fiction. As Google and Yahoo have said, try to keep your spam complaint rate below 0.1%, but 0.3, that's where they draw the line. This actually isn't a significant change from how Google and Yahoo have seen things in the past. Even this month, we have not seen a hard line for people if they ever cross that 0.3% threshold. It isn't doom and gloom for your campaign. It's still important. It's something that they are going to be keeping an eye on. And more than anything, if you're seeing consistently higher spam complaint rates, that is when you can really start to see your reputation drop. The higher your reputation, if you are domain reputation of high, you're probably going to feel pretty comfortable and pretty safe, and you're going to be given a little bit more grace by Gmail before a single day of spam complaints drops you. It really shouldn't. But if you're showing a pattern, if you continue to show that consistent pattern, that's where we really might start to run into any kind of problems. So keep an eye on it, continue to track it, but don't think it's the be-all, end-all of spam complaints. So outside of that, we're going to wrap with, is this the end of email marketing as we know it? To which there was a lot of concerns about that, but no, it really isn't. These changes shouldn't be scary. It's really not a lot changing. There's a lot of probably should haves historically that are just now becoming must haves. And we're here to help navigate that landscape and what that looks like with you. The biggest thing is really making sure that if you're sitting on Acton, you implement a DMARC record. That you have that in place. Again, bare minimum policy is enough to get by, but as you go on, you may want to take a look at what options are available to be able to move that from a none and into quarantine or reject, and use additional information to know where is my email coming from and how are we performing. So cool, thank you. Beyond that, so before we hop into the end in QA, if you want to reach out to our team, deliverability consultants here at Acton, talk to your account manager or CSM to schedule some time. We're always more than happy to chat and sync up with you and answer some questions. We love to talk about email marketing and overall email deliverability success. Of note, outside of today, next week, throwing in a plug for Tuesday for office hours. We are going to have open office hours with the deliverability team where we're going to run through in a little bit more detail some of the authentication elements and have time and space there for you to be able to connect with our team for, do we have DMARC record in place? Is everything there? And can we help craft that with you and get that on the line? So be on the lookout for that. That's at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, next Tuesday, the 27th. So come check that out, talk to us. And we'd love to discuss even further. Beyond that, again, really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. As we're getting into the QA portion of our power up here, I just want to make an ask of some of those of you who have joined us. If you're here, you're engaged with us, we'd love to have your feedback. And our marketing team is campaigning for G2 reviews right now. We'd love to be able to help them out on that front. they're super helpful for individuals who are currently researching new marketing automation tools. So if you are so inclined, we'd like to offer up for you to submit a G2 review today. If you scan the QR code or click the link that we'll provide, there will be a bonus $25 gift card for giving your thoughts on what you think about Acton in general. So thank you, and on to answering your questions. I know we've got a lot of them here today, so going to work our way through them and want to make sure that we can get to as many of these as we can.